All right, we are live. Hey, it is Nick Zangle coming to you from California, somewhere in California, on this Friday, April 30th, 2021 at noon local time. And before I get into the topic of talking about what's going on with Camelia and being sued by one of the gurus she's talked about, I want to say hi to anyone who's here. But if you are watching the replay and you want to skip through that first part and get straight to the information and what's going on with her, you can go to the timestamps in the description and it'll take you right to the part of the video they probably came for. Anyways, so let me make sure everything is good in the chat before we get into everything. Looks like so far, let me make sure everyone's getting in to the broadcast. We'll give everyone a few seconds to get in and make sure everything's good on my end. How's everyone's Friday going so far? Just double check. Looks like everything's good. All right. If you're coming in live, I'm just waiting a few seconds for some people to get in before we start. And like I said before, if you're in the replay, you can hit or check out the timestamps below and it'll take you right to the meat of the video, if you will. Let's see. All right, I think I'm going to start. So let me get my stuff ready. Okay. So Camelia, who is a YouTube drama / anti-MLM / motivational guru commentator channel, she just announced a few days ago, actually, that she is being sued by a British therapist guru person who is a best-selling author and does motivational speaking. Her name is Marisa Peer, and she is British, like I said. And this actually was announced by Camelia a few days ago on her channel, but I was just made aware of this today when I saw a community post by another anti-MLM, anti-guru creator who is Savvy Writes Books, and she does stuff about, she's an author and she does anti-MLM, she does the guru type stuff as well. But the reason I want to talk about this is because it is pretty crazy and it brings in a lot of different communities that I've been interacting with here and there over the past few years, which is the anti-MLM, kind of the anti-guru community that kind of overlaps with that at this point. And also the fact that I was in an MLM and I'm kind of in the middle as far as anti versus pro MLM. Also, this brings into account communities that or also my belief in free speech and being able to defend yourself, and also kind of the legal side of things, which up until this point it doesn't appear has really directly impacted the anti-MLM, anti-guru community. But it did remind me of a few years back, there was an incident that I remember between Meet Kevin, who is a commentator, YouTube news channel, and he was sued by another guru who is Grant Cardone for things that he said on his channel as well. So this is kind of, I think, adding to the list of incidences like that. And so, excuse me. That's why I think this is interesting. This is still very fresh and new. So I'll be curious to see if any of the law commentators on YouTube who are lawyers, if they pick this up and start following this. I know there's a ton of lawsuits going on in the YouTube online, even in the mainstream world right now, which is pretty crazy. It seems like every week there's a new one or a new indictment coming down or a new charge. We had Josh Duggar from 19 Kids and Counting just yesterday got indicted. We had the Real Housewives Jen Shah. We have Real Housewife Erika Jayne. We have James Charles is now being sued. We have the Without a Crystal Ball situation. We have the wedding dress designer Hayley Paige. I remember seeing that, and I think it's all on my radar probably because I follow a few where I really like Emily D. Baker, who is a law commentator, and so I think maybe it's more on my radar than most people who maybe don't follow her. But it is all very fascinating to me because it takes into account pop culture and the legal side of things, which in my real career outside of YouTube, which I'm on my lunch break right now, that's why I'm doing this at 12 local time, I have to navigate within the law, which I guess most industries do, but some I guess more than others. But that's why it's been fascinating to me to follow this in the pop culture world. So basically the saga was, and Marisa has, or not Marisa, Camelia has a video that she posted a few days ago on her channel, and it's actually, you can see it in the what am I saying? Right here in the, sorry, my screen is reversed, so I have to like point the other way. But anyways, it's right here. It's called Marisa Peer Sued Me. It's on her channel. I will go to her channel and show you what it looks like. So if you go to her channel, you will know it's the right one. But she basically breaks down a little bit more of what's happening. But long story short, Camelia made videos basically exposing or telling the truth about what's going on, or pointing out some red flags of Marisa Peer. And of course, Marisa didn't like that because it might hurt her business. But it appears that Camelia was asked to take down the videos. She didn't. And then there was a copyright claim, which Camelia says was falsely claimed against her videos, and basically escalated because Camelia refused to take down the video, which, if there's something truthful about it, I support her keeping it up. So there's that. Of course, now they're not, because now it appears that, from what Camelia said, that Marisa's lawyer has served her with a lawsuit. So it's escalated to this point. So that's why we see the title that Marisa has sued Camelia. But that's basically a very short explanation of the saga, but I'm sure Camelia will go into more depth with this. But when you do hit at someone's, these are a few thoughts I had, which is, if you do hit at someone's professional credibility, their career, that could affect their career, and you are effective in exposing the truth, maybe some things that they don't want out there, or some things that they've been building their career based off of that could be lies or maybe not true. I don't think you can be surprised if you're, let's say, Camelia or me or anyone else who commentates on anything, when you get a response, even if that response is not necessarily legitimate under the law, or in your opinion is not justifiable, whatever you want to say. And so that's something that's kind of in my head and reminding me to take into account every time I do a video or something, where I'm not necessarily exposing, but talking about something that maybe I know could get some pushback from the person or thing I'm talking about. Also, I do get where Camelia is coming from on a level of questioning the qualifications of Melissa professionally, because, like I said, outside of YouTube, I am in a world where I have another career, and I'm in a field where, kind of similar to therapists or any kind of medical or very impactful field, is that there is a legal responsibility and a legal gravity to having a certain title, whether it be like doctor or therapist or whatever the term is. And it's very serious, with quite a bit of regulation in a lot of the fields, and the one I'm in as well. And so that is there because it's there to protect, or supposed to protect, the safety of the public and the safety of whoever you're interacting with, because it is very impactful and can have very severe consequences if it isn't done right. And so I do think it is good to question things from anyone in any field, really, but especially ones where it has very big impacts on people, as long as there's something to back it up. And from what I've seen Camelia say from her side, is that everything she was saying was truthful and her opinion. And so there's that. So this is an interesting one, because it is affecting, like I said, kind of in the beginning, affecting someone who is a part of a community that I have had some good and bad interactions with over the past few years. But I will always stand up for freedom of expression and freedom of speech, and support someone defending themselves, even if it doesn't end up going the way me or anyone else would want to, in the name of free speech and expression online or in offline, really. I think it is always important to stand up for that, because that's one of my core values, is defending people for standing up for themselves, and free speech and free expression, as long as it's not crossing those kind of defamatory, untruthful boundaries, even though technically, I guess, you can say lies and say things that aren't true, but the person you're saying them about has a right to defend themselves. So anyways, it works both ways. But this to me was also a reminder that even when you cross your T's and dot your I's as a creator, even if you know everything you're saying is truthful, whatnot, there will still be some that you cross that won't care and will still try to get you in trouble or still try to cause a lot of issues with you. And so if you go to Camelia's YouTube channel, you can find information about ways to support her, or if you just want to follow from or hear her perspective. Let me go to actually her channel. I will exit out of this. This is her icon here, and this is her channel. So I'll put the videos up. So this is what it looks like. This is how you spell her name. This is the latest video right here. That is Marisa's, her latest video on that. I believe she actually had to private a lot of the videos about Marisa because of the lawsuit now that it's become a legal thing in the courts, if you will. And so, yeah, if you go to her channel, support her if you would like. Even though I personally have been critical of the anti-MLM community, which oftentimes overlaps with the anti-guru community, which I've talked about, I do think they do good in many ways. And so I don't, contrary to what I've been, some of my videos that I put out is I do believe they are doing a lot of good, but I also am able to criticize the parts I don't are helpful or I think are kind of counterintuitive to their mission. And so this is one chance I felt I needed to say something, bring more attention to this, because it's kind of part of the overall theme of my channel, which is kind of free speech, free expression, even civil discourse. Yeah, that's the word I'm thinking of, or the phrase, where we can agree to disagree, we can have different opinions, but at the end of the day, we can let each other speak our minds and be heard. So I kind of want to leave off this topic before I get into the chat and see what you guys are saying with this question on if you think exposing businesses, and in this case, a guru who has turned their perceived expertise into a business is grounds for them to be suing the person who is doing the exposing. Because if that exposing does impact the business negatively, and you can prove it does that to justify whatever suing you're doing, even though what is exposed was truthful, I'm still kind of thinking like, well, is that defamatory or is that grounds for legal action? Because from my understanding up to this point, it was, hold on, there's someone walking by staring at me. Okay. From my perspective, the defamation is when you, well, this is, I don't know if if this one's defamation at this point, but basically she was using the copyright system to try to get videos about her taken down, which is a whole other bag of worms to open up as far as abusing the copyright system. But if my understanding of defamation is using untruthful statements and words or whatever to attack someone and discredit their business or whatnot and hit them financially, that to me was, I thought, the grounds for defamation, not using truthful statements to expose a business which could impact their bottom line. So I'll be curious to see how this one is played out in the courts. Like I said before, Marisa is British, and I believe, God, I'm drawing a blank. I should have wrote this down, but Camelia is in the UK somewhere. She said Scotland or Ireland. I don't know. I don't know why I'm blanking on this. I just saw this, but anyways, so it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out, and if any of the YouTube law commentators pick this up and start following this, we'll see. But I'm gonna get into your chat comments now. Let's see. Adam M said, "I'm sorry to hear you had a bad experience with MLM. Me too. They have toxic goals." So that's one thing that it's very interesting. If you're still here, Adam, I don't necessarily say I had like the worst experience ever. I'm obviously still not in it, but there was good and bad that came from that, from my perspective. So let me go back to her video too. Actually, I'll just keep this up. But and I'm going to talk more about that. I have a few videos on this channel about that, but I'm going to go more into depth on that and kind of, I've been gathering my thoughts over the past year, I guess, since I've been out of the MLM, and kind of the good and bad that I've taken from it and some lessons that I've learned from it. So I'm going to be doing that as well. All right, UC Boss. Hello, number 277. Thank you so much for being here. You're just giving some hearts and some emojis. Thank you so much for being here. But yeah, Adam, there is some toxicity to it. I have been critical about the anti-MLM community and some instances where I think they let the emotional kind of drama side of things take over a bit too much, and in my opinion kind of takes away from the stated goal of them, which is kind of their activism towards exposing bad business practices and the whole MLM structure. So I won't get too far into that right now, but if you guys have any questions or any other things you want to ask me right now, since the main part of the video is over, I'm going to be clipping that first part as a separate video, so that way you can, if someone missed this or if you want to just see the segment itself and comment on that, you can. That actually reminds me, I wanted to do a channel announcement or kind of update, I guess, which was last time I talked about, or 2 lives ago, I talked about how I turned off comments to my recent shorts. And I'm happy to say that I actually reversed that move and actually turned comments back on for them, because as I was saying out loud the reasoning why I was doing it, I started marinating on it again, and I was like, you know what, this is a very slippery slope for me, because I'm someone who I don't delete comments. I just don't. I think the only ones I would delete are the ones that are like that have the link with just another timestamp. The ones that are actual spam, I'll delete those if I see them. And of course, if like someone like puts my like doxes me in there as far as my like address or anything like that, I'll delete that. But as far as like legitimate comments that are from real people, I don't delete those. And so I thought to myself, well, okay, if I'm turning off comments for my shorts, and my reasoning was so that people would go to my full video or full segment clip to leave their comment, because they might not leave that same comment if they were watching the full video. Well, and then I thought to myself, well, people leave comments all the time without watching the full video anyway. So am I really doing anything by that besides looking like I'm trying to do everything that I really stand for as far as free speech and free expression? So I thought, you know what, someone's going to comment regardless of if they watch the full video or not in a lot of cases. So let's just turn them all back on. I'll give them the opportunity to go to the full video by linking it in the pinned comment, and we'll go from there. Because I thought of the slippery slope. I'm like, okay, if now that I'm doing lives and clipping segments from that and then shorts from there, if I'm turning off comments on shorts, why not use the same reasoning to turn off comments on the segments? And I don't want to do that. And so that's my reasoning. Hopefully that makes sense. And I'm going to be going back through and linking the main segment in the pinned comments to those ones that I just turned the comments back on for. So that's really what is happening. I wanted to jump on here very quick on my lunch break and talk about this, because I think it is a story that, as far as the lawsuit goes, that is going to get picked up because of the state of where everything is right now in YouTube and all the lawsuits going on just in general. I think it's just grounds for it to just take off again. And so, and it happens to affect a community that I've interacted with here and there. And so there's that. So if you don't have any other comments or questions, then I'm going to wrap up very soon. If you want to be notified when I go live, which usually will be at either 12 or 6 p.m. local time here in California, Los Angeles time zone, which is Pacific Daylight Time now, make sure to head to the About section of my channel, and you can sign up for the free email list, which I will notify you when I'm going to go live and send you the link. Also on the homepage of this channel, there will be, when the live is scheduled, it'll be on there. So hopefully everyone's good, has a great rest of your Friday. I am going to actually finish work today. I have a little bit of time left on my lunch break, and then I'm going to finish work. And I actually, for the first time in a few months, I feel like I have an evening to do like housekeeping type stuff. So I'm going to clean, I'm going to organize, I'm going to do laundry, put away laundry, do it all in one night, and start the weekend nice and clean and organized and fresh, because I had company, and then I was away. I was studying for an exam. I finished the exam, and I was recovering from the exam the past few days, few weeks. And now I'm kind of in the mode of like distracting myself until I get the results back from the exam. And so I'm like staying busy with work, staying busy with the channel, staying busy with other things, and just kind of keeping my mind busy at this point. So with that said, thank you so much for joining me for this live. I will let you know very soon when the next one is coming. I have a lot of thoughts I want to get out into the world, and so I'm excited to start doing more of that in a live form where we can chat about it together. So I am going to end this live, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.